Welcome to the Cookbook, where we invite guests on to share the ingredients of what has helped make them the successes that they are. All of it, the good, the not so good. You're not going to find anything half-baked here. And our kitchen gets messy sometimes. That's when the fun starts. So come on and join us. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cookbook. And I say this all the time, so you know what I'm going to say. What am I going to say? I'm excited. I am so excited for my guest today, Fabienne Raphael. She is an extremely accomplished and dynamic woman. And I'm going to read her. I actually have a short bio this time. Usually they're like super long. We have a short bio, and I'm going to read her bio, and then I'm going to bring her on. So as a former elite athlete, so I'm telling you, this woman kicks ass, and athlete's mentor for Team Canada, Fabienne knows what it means to be driven by achieving big goals. She's the creator of the DREAM Method, and that is DREAM in capitals, and an online business coach for executives, leaders, former athletes, and high achievers. She helps them monetize their knowledge and leverage their careers into a successful coaching consulting business. So, without further ado, let's meet Fabienne.
Hi!
Hi! I'm so excited you could be here today.
Yes, me too.
And like everybody laughs at me because I'm so excited for my guest. But if I wasn't excited, like you guys wouldn't be on, right? Why would I have like somebody boring on?
Exactly. And it's important to be interesting.
Hello. And you have had an amazing journey. Elite athlete. I love that. And do you want to tell the audience what you did?
What I did team handball. So not like the handball that a lot of Americans think that, you throw a ball on the wall and you
slap it, back. Right? You don't slap it?
That's not it.
Okay.
It's a team sport. So let's say it's a mix of soccer and basketball. The field is longer than the basketball court, and it's very dynamic. It's stop and go, lots of goals, and it's a contact sport. So check it out because you might not know what it is.
Shut up. I don't. Because we used to have like a handball court. So I was raised in like Forest Hills, and we had this like giant cement handball court, and we would, slap the ball and then run and slap the ball.
Not it.
Wow. Okay. So
way more exciting than that.
That sounds like amazing. So do you like slap it to each other and you have to get it into a hoop, or?
No, it's not in a hoop. Like we have goalkeepers. So 6 players in the front, and then the defenders are protecting the goalkeeper's zone. So the goal is to be able to slip between the defenders or jump above the defense so we can score a goal.
Wow. Okay. How did I not know that? Okay, like when this is done, the first thing I'm doing is going to Team Canada. I'm going to look you up and see what what you did. So when we talked, you pretty much explained how you made your transition from elite athlete to becoming an entrepreneur, but you had a couple of steps before that. So let's talk about your journey.
Yeah. Oh my God. So such a versatile journey. And along the way, I realized that I was someone who used to get bored frequently. Every 3 to 5 years, there's something that needed to happen to my life so I can get that spark back again. So I guess that was life telling me that I was meant to do my own thing, but I didn't know yet. So when I started playing team handball for Team Canada, I was entering actually university to be a trained physical therapist. So when I graduated physical therapy, I was already an elite athlete, and I had a job. So I was working as an employee. I did that full time for about 3 years. And then I got the opportunity to go play in Denmark in a team in Copenhagen. So I played First Division East in Denmark for 2 years, and that was an amazing experience. And this was actually when I came back home. It was the first time that I felt that there was a disconnect, because when you go somewhere, or when you get outside of your comfort zone so much, you grow. And when I came back, I felt like the world was slow and I had grown so much. So it took me a while, like to really find out if I still wanted to, be an employee and still be in physical therapy. So I still did that, but then along the way, I changed and went to work in hospice instead of staying in private clinics. I went and got my education degree so I could teach physical therapy. So I was still in the same area, but doing different things, like to bring that spark again. And then eventually I just transitioned from employee to consultant in physical therapy, and then created my healthcare agency as a physical therapist. So I had a few therapists working for me. So I would place them in establishments where they needed therapists. And I did that for a few years. And then at a certain point, they were lacking so many professionals in hospitals that they offered a ton of jobs. So agencies did not have as many contracts as before. So my agency kind of died like that. And at the same period, I had started, being accustomed to the online world and attending a few conferences and all of that. And I figured, well, maybe I could start something online, So 2014, I started my podcast. It was called, well, it's still there because, it's evergreen, Marketing to Crush Your Competitors. I did that for about 5 years, broadcasted about 300 episodes, interviewing a ton of people. So I learned a lot of things. I connected with a few people there. And along the way, it became clear to me that I wanted to stay in that world, and that I had what it takes to help people and to coach them. So yeah, that led me to become an online coach. But yeah, let's say like, I saved a few parts of the journey because it could be like very long to talk about all of that. But let's say like that's how it happened.
So you were working while you were an elite athlete?
I was studying, and then yes, working. Yes.
Wow.
Well, I mean, the thing about handball, it's such a small sport. And, like to get grants and to get money for your sport, you have to rank at a certain level internationally. And it's as if you are in a bad cycle, whatever, when you are in a sport that's not very very popular, because actually you do what you can to practice and all that stuff. And you were all very serious about it. But then we're limited with the traveling, with the competitions that we can attend. So like, let's say that the development of athletes, it's kind of harder to get that way because it's not always easy to travel. So for me, like when I decided to leave for Denmark, well, I had a few contacts, and I was lucky that one of my teammates had done that a few years before, and her coach was looking for someone. So she had a contact over there, and that's how, it happened for me. But it's not like everyone that had a chance to go play abroad and, perfect their skills and experiment playing somewhere else at a higher level. To bring some more talent or more skills to your country when you play, in international competitions. So let's say that since I had entered Team Canada, I mean, athletes had to give a contribution to be part of the national team because we were financing ourselves to go to places. And then you could apply for grants. So if you were lucky enough to get some grants, then yes, I mean, it's good. But then again, like if some players didn't have the financial bandwidth to pay for traveling, then they could not go. Right. So it's kind of like it was it was our reality at the time. And we had to deal with that too. But like especially like the earlier years, I remember those ladies with whom I was practicing. I mean, we would all give leave our souls on the court, for the game.
Wow.
Yeah. Amazing experience. Yes.
Wow.
Well,
I had.
Give me a minute. Théo, tu peux pas rester là, mon amour. Non, il faut que tu ailles là-bas. Tu peux pas rester là. He wants to hide under the. Yeah, you see him, right? He can't stay there.
I mean, do you care?
I don't care, but he's going to listen to his stuff, so we're going to hear it. Do you hear it?
A little. Kof,
What do you say?
I mean, a little bit, but not. I mean, it's nothing crazy.
No? Théo, si tu me promets que tu bouges pas, tu peux rester ici, OK? Tu restes là? Okay. All right.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. We'll do it. He did this. He'll put a little like thing in there, like we're. It's actually pretty funny. Anyway, so I had absolutely no idea. I guess I thought that, you were an athlete and then you did your thing. So why, why did you become an entrepreneur? So you were doing that, you started your own thing, and then you started your podcast and then the online world. So that's where the entrepreneurship came from, or?
Yeah, exactly. Give me a minute. Théo, c'est trop fort. Là, c'est pas drôle. Okay, give me a minute. I'll just turn the camera off. I'll try to take care of this. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. Let's see.
Sorry. So are you staying with family, or are you in your own?
Yeah, I'm staying with family.
Okay.
With my sister-in-law. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Why did you become an entrepreneur and not decide to stay maybe with like another agency or do something like that?
Okay, so I met my business and life partner along the way, and he was already working for himself and actually attending conferences and being aware of, becoming a better version of himself. And so he got me into reading more, attending conferences, and see like other things than my day-to-day type of stuff. And I realized also that, I told you before that I was always like every 3 to 5 years, I was doing something to reignite the spark. And so I guess it was because I was still not on what really fulfilled me at the maximum, As a physical therapist, I really, really enjoyed that career. And I feel that I had a lot of impact on a lot of people. There was like that little extra thing that was missing. And I guess that with the coaching that I'm doing, like the impact that you get when a client finally gets it, or they come from there to there and they finally, have their clients going, increase their prices, and, are happier and more confident into their business or their business owner type of, them being business owners, then it really, like to me, it's like really fulfilling. Just witnessing that and knowing I'm a part of that is really fulfilling. So I guess this is the part that was missing, and that I was able to get like with the online coaching, plus like the flexibility or the people that I met, the mindset, all of that. I think that just the environment, getting to know more and more people, like, just thinking about the context in which we met and when we spoke, I feel that it's easier to meet these types of people when you are already in it, in entrepreneurship. And yeah, so that's how it happened. It's not as if like, I think he came with the idea. He was like, well, what about, instead of being an employee, you're a consultant. I was like, oh, okay, let's try that. Right. I didn't even know that I could be, an entrepreneur or anything like that. It's not something that was on my mind.
So it wasn't, you kind of like fell into it, right? Pretty much. Yeah. And it's funny because when when we're in this position, we do get to meet people, you know, where we're at and make these connections. And I remember when I first saw you in our in the round table, because you were, I think, facilitating that at the time with Megan. I was like, man, I want to talk to her. And then I think I sent you a connection request, and like you didn't answer for like a month and a half. And I was like, I'm going to like ping her again because, and then you were like, how did I miss that? And then we connected, and then we're like going to be friends for life. But it gives us these opportunities, right? Because if you're in the corporate world, you don't have the freedom that we have to be able to, and not that you can't make connections in the corporate world. I don't want to see somebody else is talking. Skylar, you want to be part of the conversation? Okay. But I think they're on a different level, right? Because there's a different understanding. Because as entrepreneurs, we have some of the same, struggles and some of the same, really, connections, and we're part of this really cool community. So,
Yeah.
The dames that Megan created is just a phenomenal community.
There are just a few things that you don't have to explain. Like, like you say something and you know that the person gets it.
Yeah.
Compared to like, let's say if you're in a setting where you're talking more with people who have a job or, who've been in corporate for a certain amount of years, then there are certain topics where, the vision or the way of seeing things is so different that it's hard to connect on that level. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's impossible to have a conversation with someone having a job. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are some topics that, you keep only for people who are in entrepreneurship because they will get it. Right. Compared to like when you have a job and where you accept like to just be in the system.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because system is not for us. So one of the things that I found really interesting when we were talking, that you were talking about, was coaching the former athletes and their journey, because I never in a million years thought about that. So would you touch more on that, on, what happens to the athlete and their brain and why they would need you or, somebody, like you to be able to literally talk them off the ledge sometimes?
Yeah. Because when you're an athlete, and especially when you're an elite athlete or an Olympic athlete, or you've done that for so many years of your life, most of the time you have started at a very young age. And so athletes are usually very focused, especially the ones who go at the high level. So they train, they go through a lot of stuff. I would say physically, it's painful to train like 25 hours, 50 hours a week, like depending on the sport. And you miss parties, you miss connections. Sometimes you don't even go out, or like you do a lot of sacrifice. And then when you realize your goal or not, or your body tells you it's time to stop, or there's a serious injury and there's nothing you can do, or a younger player takes your spot, then you have to go. And when you leave, you're kind of left with, okay, so I've been doing that thing for the last, 15 years, 20 years, putting my body and soul into it. And now I don't have that anymore. And so athletes are going through a lot of grief out of what the sport was in their life, and it's not there anymore. But also the fact that they don't recognize who they are outside or beyond the athlete, right? Because they've been identified with the athlete for all that time that they were doing those competitions. Also, I don't know if I should say that, but then, it's as if like your body has to produce something, and it's the performance. And at a certain point, that performance is done and your body is done. You can't do it anymore. So, okay, thank you for what your body did for us, but now it's over, right? So it's kind of like, it's as if like it was so identified with the sport that, there's a lot of, asking yourself questions about, okay, who am I? And am I really useful to something else? Because again, like they perfect their skills so much that
Right.
starting over with something new is kind of like, okay, so I'm going to beginner level again. Like I've been a pro doing this, or I've been an elite athlete doing this, and now I have to start over or try to fit into a world that I don't think I fit in. Because again, athletes, they have like that high level of self-confidence in their sport, and their mindset and their hard work and their resilience and their capacity to move on or go forward despite the challenges. Like they have all of that. So a lot of athletes post sports, like they get depressed, or they have problems fitting in or finding what they want to do after sports. But
especially
the
if
thing is,
somebody's like, okay, thank you for your service. Now we're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Which kind of, I know you can't say that, but I can, right? Because it's kind of like,
But
you're a commodity.
The thing is, nowadays, I feel that the dialogue is getting better and better. And that a lot of organizations are putting in place like sections of their association to help athletes with their transition. But I feel it's still at its infancy phase, that there's still a lot of work to be done, because one person I know actually sent me a recent study that was done in 2018, proving that athletes who knew what they wanted to do after they retired performed better in their, sports years than athletes who didn't know what they wanted to do. Because again, inside the athletes community, it's not seen very well if you do things outside of your sport, or if you try to plan for after, because they're like, you're not focused on what you have to do, and what you have to do is perform.
Wow.
So I mean, it's just like switching that way of thinking and just helping them, really recognizing that they are someone outside of their performance and outside of their sports. And also a lot of athletes already have a lot of skills, that they could coach, or that they could become consultants at, because a lot of them have, been in college, or they have a degree and stuff like that. So they have a lot to offer in the world. And if they played pro, or even if they played in college, but were very well known in their school, well, they already have an audience, and they could definitely leverage that. But not all of them are aware of it. And I feel that, with the name, image, and likeness that came lately, then finally a lot of athletes will be able to profit from that. But beyond that, I mean, starting a business, a consulting business, or a coaching business could be an option that they could consider. Yeah, definitely.
Right. And I forgot, my wife was telling me, who was it? I don't want to say the name because I'll get it wrong, but there was an athlete, I think he was a basketball player, who owns like 32 Papa John's and like 40 something else. Like he owns all of these. Mm-hmm. Hi, Theo.
Oui.
It's okay. He could be part of the. He could be part of the podcast. So, but he owns like all of these restaurants, and plus he does like all this other stuff. And I think that that's so phenomenal. And I think even with athletes, right, you have to have an entrepreneurial spirit if you're going to be an entrepreneur, or you have somebody like you who comes along who's like, they're done with me. Not you, but the former athlete is coming to you and they're like, they're done with me. And I don't know, mm-hmm. What am I good at? Like, what do I have? So how do you help them identify their strengths, excuse me, and how they move forward? Like, what do you do to facilitate that?
Okay, so most of the time they already know what they are great at, and I'm talking like outside of the sport that they practice, not mm-hmm. necessarily becoming, like, let's say if they played basketball, becoming a basketball coach, but sometimes they've been through something, like, let's say, a serious injury, and then they went through high performance coaching, or they've been through something themselves, and they know that they have the capacity to help others going through the same stuff. Sometimes it has to do with the education that they've gotten in college, and sometimes it's something else. I mean, we just evaluate if there's something in their lives where they feel that they are the best at, and if not, like why do people always come to them for advice? Like what, and that could be something that people are looking for, a problem to solve, again, because it can be something that no one wants to spend money on, right?
Right.
So as soon as they find that, I mean, we go with the framework that I use with my clients, which is the dream method. So we go through defining their offer, reinforcing their sales skills, enhancing the know, like, and trust factor. Oui, c'est bon. Enhancing the know, like, and trust factor, adding clients with a personalized marketing strategy, and then make their clients forever fans. So I make them all go through that. So at the end of our work together, well, not only are they clear on what they can bring to the table and what they can offer to their audience, but also they have a few clients in, and they can get started with, again, what I said earlier, being able to impact someone's life, like in a very specific way. And then, of course, it always starts with, your first, your second client, and you over deliver, and then you get the ball rolling.
Right. That is awesome. So does DREAM stand for anything in particular?
Sorry?
Does DREAM stand for anything in particular? Like, do the letters stand for anything?
Yeah, exactly. So the D stands for design your dream offer. The R for reinforcing your sales skills. The E for enhancing the know, like, and trust factor. The A is to adding many clients to your business with a personalized marketing strategy. And the M is for make your clients your forever fans. And that last one is mostly about, sometimes you think that you serve your client once and then it's over. But when you over delivered, sometimes some clients might ask, well, do you have something else to offer? Or they might come back at a higher level of their journey and ask for your support again. So I just help them think ahead of the curve to be able to support their clients in different level. Like, for example, if they've worked with someone one-on-one and then they're done with their program after 3 months or after 6 months, then after that, if they want to create like a mastermind group or a group coaching or just having an ongoing support with that client at a lower level, then, they just add it to their offer. And sometimes some people don't think about that. And that's the cheapest form of marketing when your former clients come back, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you don't have to spend and, look for new people all the time. And Of course, like some people in the online world always have new people and that proves that, they're not doing their job for the right reason.
Yeah, because if you don't have people coming back, there's like a little bit of an issue. But I think it's cool because, as athletes, they've had fans before, right? And now they have a different kind of fan. And it's a fan of their business and of their business style. And, most of the people that I've worked with like 12, 15 years. Now, because of, I had my partnership and I kind of brought everybody over there and now everybody's there. It's funny because, they still want to work with me. They can't now, in a couple of years when everything, kind of hashes out, they can. But the point is that they still want to. And I thought that, it's like a huge testament. And my new clients, they're going to be clients like for, I know, easily, 12, 15 years. And it's just so funny because, I remember when, we ended our partnership and I knew that they, that the clients were going to be staying with the other company. And honestly, they need to. It's good for them to be there. I helped build the product, so I know that they're in good hands. I have, that was my biggest concern was, I want to make sure that nothing is changing. The only thing that changes is that they're not dealing with me, but everything, all their services, everything is the same. And it is. And it is. And, and I refer people over there in a heartbeat because I help build the product. I know it's good. I know that it works. So, so for me, it was kind of like separation anxiety. I was like, oh man, I can't talk to you for a year and a half because of, we signed a non-compete and an NDA, and it's like, and so some of these people, they don't just become fans and you become fans of them, they become friends.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, and I found it interesting because the people that I'm working with now are like, you can never do that again because I don't want to work with anybody other than you. And so you have to just stay gas stove because if you don't, we're going to be pissed. And I'm like, and I just started laughing. I said, I'm not ever going to do that again. I'm never going to have another business partner. I'm doing this on my own. And my client said to me yesterday, I want you to sign a piece of paper saying that. And I was like, I'm not signing any more papers.
Enough papers for now.
Like I am done. But it, as entrepreneurs, we get it. It's so important, I think, the value that we bring to our clients because we really enhance their lives, right? I mean, because if we don't, then we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. So, as somebody who went through the journey that you kind of, or not that you kind of went through, you went through, what advice would you have for somebody who's thinking of becoming an entrepreneur or somebody who is just starting out and they're kind of like, what advice would you have for them for that?
Oh, I would say if they feel that this is what they need to do or they have to do, then do it. Don't wait for permission or don't overthink it. I think it was one of my problems when I started my journey, and especially the online journey, because I thought that I never knew enough stuff. So I kept on buying a ton of courses and, wanting to know more and learning more. And then what about this? I don't know about that. So all of us have something specific that we're very great at. We have strengths. And we should focus on, when we get started, we should focus on doubling down on what we are great at. That's what I would say. And then also to protect your dream, to be aware of who you're speaking with about it. Because if you speak about it to someone who's never done anything outside of their comfort zone, they'll try to keep you away from trying new things and, stay with them at their level. And there's nothing wrong with it if that's what suits them or what makes them feel good. But if it's not what makes you feel great, then you should choose the person you want to share that with and surround yourself with the right people for your journey. Because the best example I have is, when I was still a physical therapist and then a patient would come in and said, well, my brother told me to do this exercise, so I did it. And I was like, well, your brother does. Oh, my brother is a teacher. I'm like, yeah. So your brother doesn't know what's your best exercise for your problem. I do. So
right.
Let me tell you, right? So same thing. I mean, in entrepreneurship and any aspect of our lives. And for some reason, sometimes people are putting a lot of importance on the advice that they get from people who have no clue about what it is and how a great experience it is. I love to say that entrepreneurship is the second best personal development experience there is after parenthood. Right after. Yeah.
Well, I'm a puppy parent four times. We in the last, literally in the last 3 years, we lost each of them.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, we lost Gizmo a couple of weeks ago. We lost Harley a year ago. So Sunday will be a year that we lost Harley, and then we lost Gabby in 2020. So it's just been it's been kind of weird. But now we have my 13-month-old crackhead who's actually being quiet right now. And so now it's the next generation of, the pack begins. But so that's my parenthood experience. But it's funny because when I think one of the things that I've really noticed being an entrepreneur is that people really put, and if you're thinking of doing this, you really need to realize that it's not just you're working for yourself and you're starting your own business and you're not going to have a boss. You need to have a purpose for why you're doing it and a why. And you need to know your why, right? You need to know, why are you doing this? And are you truly doing this to help people? Are you doing this just to make money? Are you doing this, and I'm in it to help people. And I remember I was told that you can't be friends with all your clients. And I was like, oh, Theo's in there. Damn it, I can't say it. But I was like, BS. Of course, you know what I wanted to say. So I was like, I know you guys aren't used to me censoring myself, but there's a child in the background, so I'm being respectful of that. But, I was like, BS, you can't be friends. Of course you can, because that's the whole idea, is as you build that relationship, and it's all about knowing and liking and trusting somebody, the more you know, like, and trust somebody, of course they're going to become your friends. You're going to be concerned about them. You're going to be concerned about their family. You're going to, I think it all ties in. Like, I never want to be that company that has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients and I don't know who they are. That's not who I am.
Yeah. Same for me.
Right. And, I was talking to Lindsay Hotmeyer. She's also a dame. And, we were like, we're not there. We don't, is $1 million business nice, or a $2 million? Yeah. And if I can get there by having the amount of clients that I want to have, and Skylar wholeheartedly agrees. But if I can have, if I can have that with the amount of people that I have bandwidth to work with, then great. But I don't need to be a gazillionaire. I'm doing this because I believe that my purpose in life is to be of service. Actually, I know it is. I believe it. I know that that's my purpose in life. And I want to be able to help and service my clients in a very personalized way. So I can't do that if I don't know if I can trust them.
And I feel like what you're saying is where the world is heading. Like, we were talking in the pre-chat about, what's going on in the world and how it's, it's upside down everywhere. Yeah. And people need other people who are compassionate, or who are empathetic, or who are heart-centered, and not only care about materials, but really care about the human being behind the client, or behind what you're helping your client with. Right. And I feel that there's a lot now that is, it weights a lot on the it weights a lot, like when the person takes a decision, if the person had a personalized phone call, or, if you did something extra, or you show that you cared. Because there are still, and I feel in the online world, there are still a lot of people who don't care and who treat people like numbers. And I feel that the more of us who are, heart-centered and really giving that personalized experience, then these are the ones who are going to stay like for a long, long time.
Right. And and I think that, and one of my clients, and I talked about this Monday. I can't even keep track of how many interviews I've been doing, but my local clients, I get these like Swiss Colony Petit Fours, right? And I drop them off. They're like really cool. They're delicious, and they're really bad for you, but they're really delicious. And they say Merry Christmas on it, whatever, out of the Petit Fours. And I drop these off to my clients. And I went to my one client, and he's been my client for 12 years. We've been really good friends. And so he gave me like this gift basket, and I was like, you didn't have to do that. And he said, of course I did. And I, okay, thank you. And he said, I just want you to know that it's not lost on me what you do. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's not lost on me that what you do helps my guys put food on their table. It helps me put food on my table. And I usually don't cry, and I mean, I just got so teary because I never looked at it like that. Like I always looked at it that I was helping them grow their business, but I never looked at what was behind helping them grow their business, like what effect it has, right? Because there's always this domino effect. And that comment made me look at what I do in a whole different way. And it put me on a whole different trajectory so that when I work with somebody, in the back of my mind, I know that if I don't do a good job, somebody might not eat. And I know that's putting a lot of pressure on myself, but at the same time, if I'm not doing my job, then they shouldn't be working with me.
Yeah.
And you know, like a lot of people are sorry, I don't know who's listening to if I'm going la la la. So
do you want me to mute while we're talking, maybe? So when you're talking, I can mute, and then when I talk, I unmute.
I mean,
so
you can. I don't know. But no, because I want us to be able to, you know, converse. That's fine. It just
Okay.
I just heard the tune and it made me
you
know, kind of go. So but what that did was it added such a layer of serious, you know, another layer of seriousness to what I do as an entrepreneur. And it anytime I meet with somebody now, before I say, yeah, you know, because as much as they interview us, we're interviewing them, right? You know, our prospective clients. If I don't feel that I'm going to be able to bring 100% value to you, I'm not going to work with you. And people are like, well, of course you're going to bring value. That's crazy. Why would you even say that? Because not everybody's a good fit. It is what it is. And I think that if I don't feel that I'm going to give you the value that you need now, and somebody else will give you the value, I will introduce you to that person who will bring you the value that you need.
Exactly.
Rather than you work with me, because I don't want to just take your money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at. And it really helped put things in perspective for me, right? It made me go, wow, you know, this is really powerful stuff. So yeah, so that you know, it put me on a whole different mindset and a whole different trajectory. So for a seasoned entrepreneur that may be struggling, and we know, like on our group, people put it out there all the time, right? I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. What obstacles have you overcome?
Me too.
Hi, Theo. Okay. He's so cute. See, and that's the beauty about this is because people are like, oh my God, you know, you're doing a professional podcast and it's so unprofessional. And I'm like, this is not, to me, we're talking about entrepreneurs. We're having a conversation. And if Skylar barks and Theo talks or does what he's doing in the background.
But you know, that changed a lot because, like, I remember when I started my podcast in 2014, like, there's no way, you know, could have noise in the back. And, like, and I think people's perspective changed a lot with, you know, humanizing the fact that, yeah, kids are home and we work from home. And also the pandemic helped with that a lot. Because, I mean, you need to get some work done and you can't throw your kid out. Stay outside while mommy is having the interview. Don't go on the street, eh?
Right.
Like, you can't
don't do that. Turn your Paw Patrol or whatever it is you're listening to down, right? So
and he looks at you before he jumps down. Did you see that? Oh my God. He's like, look at me. I'm on camera.
Like, what I'm doing. See, and she's like, I wish she would come in here because she's so, it's weird because, you know, Gizmo, the first year of her life, like terrorized her. He just didn't like her. He was like a 12-year-old man going, hey kid, get off my lawn. Like he just didn't want her to be around at all. And then I think he knew the end. Ooh, sorry. I think he knew that the end was coming sooner than we did because he started like if she was at the vet, you know, that whole story, like 5 freaking weeks, 5 eye surgeries. It was just like insane. And every time that I would come back in the house with her, he would run up to her and he would smell her and he would, you know, whatever. And so they started getting this kind of groove going, right? Yeah. And now he's gone. And so then my wife, who didn't realize, she's like, oh, I found a video of Gizmo barking. So he's barking in the video, and now she was looking for him. She's like, oh, where is he? But he was barking at her while she was under the bed. So I'm sure he was like yelling at her. And so she was like, what is that? Where is that coming from? But anyway, we're totally off track. So that's my ADD. But so we were talking about, so for a seasoned entrepreneur, who, like, what struggles have you gone through that you've overcome that maybe you can, you know, help guide? Because like I said, we're all going through something at some point.
I think when getting started for me, as I said earlier, like was a bit hard because I was really afraid of selling, and I was at a phase where imposter syndrome was hitting really hard, like wondering why people would pay me, or what I could bring to the table, or if it was a great idea to start a business or not, and stuff like that. So I guess that's why I kept buying courses. And, you know, at a point, there's a class I bought, an online course, and I realized that I bought it maybe eight months or a year after. And when I wanted to come back on the platform, it was not there anymore. Like, so I had paid for it, and it was gone. Wow. And it was impossible to get in touch with like the person who sold it to me, because like, and that is just like giving you the idea of how many courses I have. Losing track on all those logins and passwords, whatever.
Yeah. And I get those all the time. Like I have people going, hey, join this course, do this. My course has this many steps, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know.
But you know what, Iris, like, because we know marketing now, and I think we have that awareness. And even myself, sometimes I read a very great sales page and I get at the end of it and I want to click buy.
Right.
And then there's this awareness. I was like, wow, that was such a great sales page. You know, like this is
right. I need to take something from there. I need to learn something from that.
Exactly. Yes. And then you're like, wait a minute, do I really need it? Because they got me to thinking that I could click on the button. Right. But then after that, I'm like, switching back into, wait a minute, like, should I buy this or not? And then I don't buy, or I buy, depending, but I have that awareness, you know? So,
before you didn't, right? You're just like, this sounds good. This sounds good. And like anything that
I would buy everything, like really everything. So you were a good marketer, I would buy.
Right. I had a guy who was,
oh my God,
he emailed me for like a year before I started my other business. And then he found my email from my other business and found out that I was a co-owner and started emailing me there. And I'm like, dude. So then I got an email from him like 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, are you stalking me? So he goes, I'd love to have a 15-minute conversation. I said, so would I. So I had a 15-minute conversation with him, and I was like, you are creepy. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, I get being persistent, but you followed me from this business to my other business and now back to this business, and I never bought from you. So I'm just letting you know I'm not going to.
So, it's like close to harassment.
I said, so please don't like email me anymore. And he was like floored. He said, I wasn't looking at it like that. I was looking at follow-up. I said, I never gave you a response for you to follow up to. So, and I never would have said that 5 years ago. I would have been like, okay, just, leave me know. But I was just like annoyed. I was like, you followed me one company, the next company, and back to my other company. Like we're friends. Hey, Iris, how are you? Haven't spoken in a while. Dude, you're
never spoke.
God. Yeah, we never spoke. It's like, oh my God. So,
But you know what, Iris? There's like two schools of thoughts with that, like because some people say you should follow up until the person tells you very directly, well, you know what, dude, don't ever contact me again. And other people are like, well, if you don't get any response after 2-3 emails, well, forget about it, or 2-3 calls, forget about it, like
right.
max. So yeah, I mean, sometimes people are in I don't know, maybe for him, as you said, he was not aware, so maybe
5
he thought he
years.
was doing his job,
5
following with you.
years.
5 years, right?
5 years following me from one company. I mean, hell, if you want to know, then if that's what I need to do from now on, I'm going to be like, no, thank you, I'm done. Don't contact me again.
Exactly.
5 years.
Well, be clear.
It's like,
be clear. But if they keep doing it after you're clear, then it's a problem. I mean, I've been having that problem with, actually, it was an email this morning. And I said, well, you know what? It's the third time that you're sending me this email. And it's actually the third time that I'm telling them to take me away from their list.
Right.
And I said, well, I don't want to report you as a spam email. So this is my last attempt to let you know that you shouldn't contact me again. Because if you do that, I'll have to report you as spam. But but sometimes I think sometimes it slips through the cracks, and you have to remind people that
this guy was I won't say his name, but I'm like,
no, don't say. No,
I won't. I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't do that. But just like I saw his name in my email, and I went, oh no, really? I was like, come on. And that's why he's like, let's have a 15-minute chat. I was like, okay, let's do it. So.
But that's fascinating. I mean, and we could probably expand into like talking about the people who think that this is the best attitude, or this is the best way to talk to people, jumping into your inbox and then letting you know that you should get on the phone with them, but not necessarily having recognized that there's a need or a want from that person and just asking them right away. So let's get on a call. And it's obviously to get sold like something.
Right.
That's, I don't know. That doesn't work.
Who was I talking? Oh, I was talking to Allison Arnoff.
Yes.
And she is like, so I love her to death. And we're talking about how, well, how do I put this? When you have a first conversation with someone, right? You shouldn't try to sell them, especially when you're not supposed to try to sell them.
No.
So,
definitely.
And we discussed that, there were, a few people that we've spoken to similarly that they sell you. And I'm like, when I'm meeting with somebody for the first time, I genuinely want to know. I want to know what Theo keeps showing you.
The thing he's doing is actually Christmas list. So he's showing me, because he loves to watch, like those channels where they are unwrapping new toys and stuff. So he loves Hot Wheels and racetracks. So he keeps on showing me these tracks and telling me to put them on the list for Christmas. But then I told him that Santa Claus can only choose 2 or 3 maximum, because he has a lot of kids to take care of.
Oh, yeah.
So he understands that, but he keeps on coming and showing me the stuff.
Well, he's giving Santa options, right? He's saying, he's
giving a lot of options.
Santa, you pick 3. But when I do a one-to-one for the first time, I genuinely, I want to learn about the other person's business, and I want to know how I can help them. Like the first thing I say is, and I'm like, how can I help you? Like, who can I introduce you to? I never sell. I never say, hey, if you ever need help with marketing, look, I've never said that. and Allison actually was like, she goes, actually, I may need marketing help. And I said, we could talk about that another time.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing when the person asks for it.
No, not at all.
It's totally different.
Right. But if you tell me, hey, Iris, I have this coaching thing that I really think you would benefit from. I'd be like, because we barely talk business, I think.
We didn't really talk.
No, we talked about like everything else. I think,
yeah.
We did talk about, the athletes and how, they're lost sometimes. And we touched on some stuff, but it wasn't salesy at all. And
no,
and I got that. I said, I get it. And I think that people really need to, just start thinking that when you're meeting somebody for the first time, it's a get to know you kind of thing. It's a get to, is there a potential for me to know, like, and trust you moving down the line?
Yeah, definitely.
And if you're selling me right off the bat, no.
It's a turn off.
Yeah.
Like then I won't want to talk to you again, or I won't refer you, or you won't be on top of mind for me.
Yes. And so I thought that was pretty big, but
it is.
So why, see, you said we're at 55 minutes already and you thought a half hour was going to be fast. See? I'm telling you, it goes so fast. So why would somebody choose you as opposed to somebody else who's in your field? Why would they?
Woo!
Yeah, girl, I'm giving you the hard stuff. Like, why you so special, my friend?
I love to say it's because I'm the before and after kind of expert, because everything I touch in my career or in my life has to do with the before and after effect. And also because of my, of my personality. So the before and after, I mean, as a physical therapist, like I would see someone limping and then I help them be able to run again. So very exciting for the person to be able to do that. Coaching, like they come, they don't have a business. They finish working with me and they're fulfilled because they're happier. They live their purpose. They have their clients going in. I used to have a home staging business. So I was helping homeowners sell their home for top dollar. So when I would go in, clutter house, like not very nice looking and stuff, and then painting and then new decoration and then able to sell for top dollar, very happy people at the end. So I would say like the before, if you want like really that transformation of before and after effect, I think that, I've touched that in so many areas that it's something that became natural to me.
I love that. And, you said, physically, they came to you limping and then you help them walk, and you do that professionally too, right? They kind of come to you limping and you help them walk. So that's pretty awesome.
And then I need to add that, when you work with someone, and especially when you're heart-centered and where your focus is way more on, what that person is paying you to get, but what transformation you're helping that person get, along the way, that person is forever changed. So if you look, I always invite my clients, because we record the video sessions, I always invite them to watch at the video session. First session, sound off, just to look at the way they express themselves or their self-confidence or, how they look. And then at the end, when they talk and when they speak, because there's a higher level of confidence, there's a higher level of happiness. They feel that they are at the right place at the right time. There are so many things that change. And one of my clients once, like, she told me, she's like, even my kids told me I'm more patient, I'm happier. They love to see me like that. So it's the effect is way beyond just like, getting a coaching or consulting business. It's like getting a better life.
Yes.
So that's what's exciting about it. I'm sure you feel it while I'm talking about it, because
you just get all, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you see the changes, like, oh my God, I remember you coming in, like you were so unsure and so like, I don't know, like stuttering almost about, your pricing and stuff. And now look at you. I mean, being able to charge this and having these clients and just like living your life, So yeah.
That's awesome. So for all you folks out there looking for a really good coach, and especially for former athletes who are kind of lost and you don't know what the next step is going to be, you can contact Theo and Fabienne.
Theo can help you with Hot Wheels and little cars.
Theo can help you with picking out Christmas presents. Well, Christmas in July, right?
Yeah.
And then I can't believe it's like an hour already, but I always ask everybody this.
Monta that, Iris. See?
Oh, those are cool. So when I was Theo's age, and so it was like 1,000 years ago, so they were still doing Hot Wheels. Okay, I had those loop-de-loop things.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah,
Christmas.
I used to play with like GI Joe. Like they wanted to buy me Barbie. I hung Barbie. So this is a true weird story about me that I've never told, but I'll tell real fast. So when I was young, my stepmother at the time bought me a Barbie doll, and I didn't want the Barbie doll.
Mm-hmm.
So oh no, that's not what happened. They gave me money to go down to the corner store. It was like a luncheonette, because in the Bronx they always had like luncheonettes, and they had these toys on like this metal rack.
Okay.
So I went down, I picked out a GI Joe, because I had like a whole bunch of GI Joe stuff at home, and so I picked out the GI Joe, and I go upstairs, and Lorraine, she looked at it and went, that's a GI Joe. Go back down and get a Barbie. And I'm like, I don't want a Barbie. I want a GI Joe. Well, she took GI Joe from me, and she goes downstairs and gets me a Barbie. Now, this is like 1967. Okay, so I'm old people. This was like, it was 1971 probably. So, so she comes back up with a Barbie, and Dad was like, say thank you, Lorraine. I was like, thank you, Lorraine. So I got home, and I know you people are going to want to put me in an institution after this, but I got home and I took all my GI Joe dolls and the trucks, and we had a tree, because it was like a jungle kind of thing.
Yeah.
A jungle motif. And I took a string off of one of the bakery boxes, and I drew like dirt and stuff on Barbie, and I hung her from the tree.
Oh my God.
And my mother comes in, and because I'm mad, right? So my mother,
yeah, you're mad, obviously.
My mother comes in and was like,
ooh,
like horrified, like, what did you do? And I was like, I hate Barbie. And so she calls up my father, and she's like, what did you do to her? You get her one day a week. Like, what did you? And so, long story short, I never had another Barbie doll after that. But and then I was probably in years of therapy, but for other reasons. But yeah, and I've never shared that with anybody, so I just want to tell you that. But it was just like so funny. But anyway,
it is funny.
It's a little disturbing though, right? You're kind of like, wow, you really don't want a Barbie doll. It's like, no, I don't like Barbie dolls. And
no, because you were very mad, and also like you didn't feel respected for your choices. No. Like, so I guess it was just your reaction to say, well, I didn't want it. Like, so
I really don't want it. So I don't want it so bad that, and then I think, the week after, my friend came down, and she was like, well, if you really don't like Barbie, and she broke Barbie's head off, but that was another.
She was already dead anyways, right? So
oh my goodness. So, okay. So the last question that I always ask everybody, because we could probably talk for another hour. See, and you were like, no, we need a half hour. And I'm like, it is going to go so fast. So what, tell us something that lights your fire. Like, what is the one thing that just fires you up? And it could be personal, it could be business, it could be just what gets Fabienne going?
Discovering new places. I love it. Discovering new places, talking to new people. What the entrepreneurial journey has taught me is that I'm not scared to talk to any stranger. So wherever I am, I know that I'm going to meet the right person to talk to, or like to create a new friendship with, or like, so to me, it's very exciting, like to go somewhere where I've never been before and understanding the culture, talking to people. Like, this is really, yeah, this lights me up a lot.
I love that. I love that. That's like, no one else has said that. Everyone talks about everything else but that. And I absolutely love that. I love you. You're just so awesome. You really are.
Thank you.
You really are. I'm glad we met.
Yeah, me too.
I know. So I think we're going to have to end this quickly because someone just got home. So thank you for taking the time. And I know, Theo was fine. Don't even worry about it. I love it. I think it's going to add an extra layer to this. So,
I think so
Skylar
too.
and my wife coming home early. So I'm like, oh my God, she's home. But wait, anyway, I'm making a bad joke. But thank you for taking the time out. And I really appreciate you.
Yeah, me too. And thank you for inviting me. I mean, this was lots of fun. And thank you for actually the fact that, like Theo was part of it and it was okay. Because I feel like also this needs to be more normalized.
Oh yeah. Well, Theo's part of you. He's like a huge part of your life. How could we not include him? So I'm doing the podcast, so don't talk. I'll bet people never say that. It's like
it would be funny that you leave that in the on the show.
Oh, I'm totally leaving it in because people know with this podcast, yes, it's about entrepreneurship. Yes, it's about business, but it's kind of taken on a life of its own, and it's real. I'm real.
We're totally leaving that in.
We're totally. And we're leaving that in. So that was Kofi, my producer. And we're real here. There's no, the audience isn't going to like it. Well, then you're not the right audience.
You know what I forgot to say?
What?
I forgot to give you the link to my YouTube channel.
Duh. Well, Kofi, what is it?
It's youtube.com/Fabienne Raphael.
Okay. And we can add it in after because this is going to be edited, but we're definitely going to leave that part in. What you're not going to hear is wiggly butt, because Skylar has her entire, and Kofi will tell you, the entire back of her body goes wham, wham, and she'll like smack herself in the eye with her tail because she gets so excited. So it's wiggly butt. But she's being really good right now, which is a little amazing. So. So thank you. You hang on for a second. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. But so everybody, thank you for hanging in here with us, and really appreciate you watching and listening. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and download. And leave comments, and you could say this was an insane, episode because it was. But again, like I said earlier, we're real here. We don't pull any, not pull any punches, but we're just ourselves. And whatever happens, it happens, right? I mean, life happens. So thank you guys so much, and keep your eyes out for all the episodes that are coming, and I'm going to sign off for now, and y'all go out and find out what lights your fire. See you guys. Bye.